and then I'll insert, being a explosive, well, they call me a demolition expert in the service, but because I ended up with, well, my military number, and then the state got a hold of me and they had a new product, an EBW. Do you know what an EBW is? They asked me. Oh, at Butte. I had to go to Butte, to the School of Mines over there. Well, we have this new product. Do you know what an EBW is? What it stands for? For $25. Electric bridge wire. It's a gold wire. There's no explosives. There's no powder. There's no penna. That's your cap. It's a gold wire. And it's got some lead wires out here. So they give you it, and you're a big fire. Now they were the Forest Service down in Missoula. The guy that was a neighbor at Arley, he was a smoke jumper. Well, then he went into trail maintenance. Well, he was a powder man. So we traded secrets back and forth all the time. So what he'd do, you can get all kind of fire crew to pack. They got primer cord, three strands of primer cord made into one. It's fire line. It's called fire line. 100 foot to a roll. All right, so you got 10 firefighters. Each of them got a roll. So you anchor this here with these lead wires on it. You anchor it. He rolls out his 100 feet. You get the other one, you snap them together. So you get 10 of them. So there's 1,000 feet. Big young guys, matter of minutes. You got 1,000 feet of primer cord. There's 3 strands. Okay, so the night before you had this transformer plugged into a wall outlet. So it produces 20,000 volts. So if you have it in your pocket, you charge it, and you go down there to, so he'd always get me down there to the Forest Service, the smoke jumpers, the tower where they practice with, and look, have a good pair of boots on, how fast I could run up them stairs and back. Well, at that time it's a piece of cake, you know. But anyway, I only got to detonate once. I mean, how many fires I went on, it was never used. They had it, but anyway, so it's all at that. They raised the yellow flag down there, the last kid down there. So you got 10 firefighters sitting down there. Now, of course, this stuff's going to go off and it'll light brush on fire. Well, the thing about it is, though, it blows all the duff and pine needles, pine cones, 4 to 12 feet wide. If in the immediate trail there's a log, that you just lay a stick of pine out like that, take a wrap with a pine cord and keep on going. Breaks the log in two, depending on what kind of log it is. But anyway, just open that tree. You can make a fire line. So it blows dirt and duff, 12 up as much, 4 to 12 feet wide. And so now the firefighter coming back with their Pulaskis and stuff, they got virgin dirt. They don't have to shovel all that duff off towards the fire. They got virgin dirt. But just throw that on the fire. That's the idea of it. So anyway, you get to they got you up there to your transformer and this electric bridge wire, and you tape the bridge wire taped across on the primer cord that's got one little strip out, and you hook your wires up to your transformer, and you push this button, and that charges the transformer. Red light comes on. And you push the button. This fire line all over, you know. Last I ever knew of any doing it was the fire they had on Dalton Mountain, but anyway.
Which mountain?
Down here by Ovando.
Okay, okay. Oh yeah, I know. I keep listening to your stories. We keep getting off track.
Anyway, my boy.
All right, you have to tell us what it was like. 17,
You got
18,
it on?
19-year-old kid,
You got it on?
dirt roads.
I suppose it's on.
Huh?
Is this on?
It is.
Oh. Well, anyway, okay. So so now we're breeding these Hereford cows to shorthorn bulls because of they want the dark feet and cut down on some of the white. Well, but then it way too much milk. So okay, so this cow has a heifer calf, and you breed her, that heifer, when she gets older, to a Hereford bull. And then she has a heifer, and you breed that heifer to a Hereford bull. It takes 7 generations to get rid of all of the broccoli genetics. You'll have enough white on the tail, let's say it's Hereford. You have enough white on the mane and enough white to call it a white face. Now if you have an all red neck, it's Hereford bull to a Hereford cow, red neck to Hereford calf, or all red tail, or a Bronco face, that cow buyer's gonna knock you down 2 cents a pound. Because you're supposed to be buying Herefords. So anyway, they finally get back to the straight Herefords. And in the 50s, people with a lot of money and somebody else's business they know stuff about, they figure the Hereford cattle are too big. So they scare their children. So they bred them down to they call miniature Herefords, and they call dwarfism. In the 50s, it took us 20 years to get rid of the dwarfism in Hereford cattle with genetics. So I got married to my army buddy's wife. We lived here in Lincoln, drove truck, and her and the army buddy's wife, they canned together and went huckleberry picking and stuff. And we hauled logs off of Dalton Mountain. One year, another logger had a contract to cut power poles. So we were kind of slow, so they'd hire me. So I'd haul power poles off Dalton Mountain, load a mile down from the top on the Lincoln side, and I'm doing my damn snooze.
That's okay.
So all of this ranching and the beginning of logging and stuff is between the ages of 17 and 25. We got married at 25. So we drove that logging truck, and then we drove chip truck, and pulp mill came in. Then we back to logging trucks, and we lived several places here in Lincoln. Then we moved into Missoula. We lived there, and then we'd end up back in Lincoln again. So we ended up having the 6 boys and 2 girls. So we had a basketball team and sub and 2 cheerleaders. So we ended up quit driving in about, well, let's see, came back up to Lincoln in 67. The mill burnt down up here, so I could haul any place I wanted to with the chip trucks. But a fella up here, he had lumber trucks and he'd haul logs. He'd haul them rough lumber out of the sawmill that I hauled the chips out of. So we had 2 of them trucks, and they made 2 round trips. So 4 loads of lumber would make 2 loads of chips. And the chips paid for the overhead of running the mill. So that went on there for 5 years. And now you're getting close to 30 years old. You're in and out of Lincoln. So it was a big long time between hauling them power poles, and then I'd come back from unloaded Avon. Well, the guy up there had some rail cars in for rope power poles on the siding, and then come back over, unload that power poles, and come over, and then the guy that loaded me with the power poles, he had a logging job So then I'd haul 2 loads of logs into his mill. And that went on for a while. Well, then you go back with the Army buddies, and that ranch I worked on for altogether 8 years, from 17 to 20 to 25 actually, you know, on and off. They bought the timber off of that ranch that I worked on for those 8 years, and gave me one student trip on dry roads in September. Well, it got toward November, it got snowy and stuff, and one thing and another. It didn't teach you anything about setting up brakes or chaining up a logging truck or nothing else. But from chaining up your pickup or something, you kind of halfway knew how to chain something up. So we go up one day, and the last corner, coming out of the woods, faced the southwest, and it would melt snow and mud and run down to the road and freeze at night. Well, it got to be about the size of a basketball, and I'd asked the cat skinner to go down and peel that out of there. I need all that corner I can get. Well, they hadn't got to it. So they loaded me this one day, a big load of fur. It was snowing, just a little bit, nice big soft flakes. So he loaded me and he said, "You gonna chain up?" I said, "I don't know, got up here without chains." He turned around, unloaded the trailer, backed up, hooked it up, loaded me. Well, he said, "You'll probably be all right." It was about a mile and a half down to the county road. The time I got to that bad corner, I was in 4th gear, keeps from the motor blowing up. That means I'm going pretty good speed. So I took everything of all the road I could have, so I didn't have to hit that bump down there, that basketball. Well, I thought I was just fine. Well, that left front wheel hit that basketball and slowed that tractor clear over the bank. I looked out the back window, and we were headed for upside down. And I looked, I see the trailer tipped over, and I laid on the floor and grabbed both transmission sticks, real hung on tight, big clunk, and the trailer had a shear pin on the end of the compensator, your reach. It sheared, turned the truck loose. So I was away from the logs, and it rolled one more full turn. So I'm back on my passenger side again, sliding down the draw. It wasn't 1,500 feet or nothing, just a long flat draw. It stopped just before it got to a big old yellow pine stump. Well, I said bolts and nuts and my lunch pail and thermos bottle, everything landed on top of me. I didn't feel hurt, and could move my arms. My head was under the heater, one leg through the steering wheel. Well, now I'm 26 years old, so just crawled right out of there. I could hear somebody hollering. Well, the Army buddy, he was hollering, I could tell by his voice. I finally got out to the driver's window was down. I stuck my head out and I looked way up the draw up there. He's standing on top of that pile of logs. And he hollered my name. And oh, I said, "Hey, Steve, down here, down here." "Down where?" "Look down the draw." "What are you doing down there?" "I don't know." So he gets off the deck, crawls up there, jumped in that. He had an old weapons carrier for a woods truck. Another older brother was driving. They drive down in line with me. I got to crawl up that hill. I got up there. The first thing I said, my Lot 6 it was hunting season, so Lot 6 was still in the rack, so all they said, "Well, there ain't be nobody up here. Jump in." So I jumped in. He started out. I got down the county road, headed towards the ranch buildings. I said, "All right." I said, "Been on that ranch there 8 years." And I said, "When you get a right side of pitchforks like you like, you hide it, so nobody gets it. So you got the same pitchfork next winter." I said, "I think I know where I hid that pitchfork. You take me back down to the ranch." I said, "You tell tell your sister where I'm at. I said, no more log truck driving. Going back feeding cows. No, it's old weapons here go 35 miles an hour, and it was icier than heck on the county road. We got to what they call Highway 200 nowadays, so it used to be called Highway 20. Now head for Lincoln. Back up we go. When we get up there, well, I ain't going to want her to go back up there and show her where we wrecked. So anyway, they talking not go find that pitchfork, go feed cows. So this young fella had this other truck, he had a broken ankle. So he said, come on. He said, I'll go with you. So this is on a Saturday now, this wrecked on Friday. So Saturday, so he showed him how to run his truck. Told him Sunday we practiced some more. So on Monday, he helped him and crutches and stuff and get in the truck and away we go. So we get up there. They get to turn off the county road to the woods road. I stopped. What are you stopping for? I said, I'm chaining it up. Well, he said, it's a lot colder now. You don't need chains. Yeah, I said, so I've chained up. If the thought ever comes across my back of my neck, driving a logging truck, and should I chain up, I have the truck trained. It stops right there. So anyway, so all this going on up here in Lincoln when we were living up here and hauling logs or hauling chips, whatever. We had a fella show up in town, and he walked out of town up here to a fella that had an old post and pole yard, and walked in there. This guy kind of said, well, I haven't had nothing to eat for quite a while, and one thing another, he said, and the post and pole guy said, well, I don't have any money here, you got to go into town and get the checkbook. So they jumped in his pickup. I knew the pickup, could go by it all the time. So the pickup got out to the highway here, and the guy pulled a gun on him and told the post and pole guy, turn right. So I put him top of Rogers Pass, and he shot the post and pole man. So later that day, I was up here with a chip truck later in the afternoon. I stopped at the cafe over here and had my soup and sandwich for the week, and came out, and there's post and pole guy's pickup. That guy come out of it and walking over and walked right by me and said hello, and that was it. I got back up here the next morning, and that was the guy that did the shooting. So they caught him, find out who did the shooting, all this and that. And every time that he was saying anything about parole or this or that, we had an old doctor here. He'd go around town and he'd gather up signatures about turning that guy, paroling that fellow. If you're going to parole him, you send him to Lincoln, because they planned on hanging him.
Are you okay? You want to take a break? I said, are you okay? Do you want to take a break? Your wife.
So of course we live in western Montana, and your truck driving has something to do with the timber business, whether it's logs or lumber or chips or fuel or like that. And then that was for 23 years altogether, and the rest of our life had to do with farming and ranching and helping people put registered cattle together. There was a fellow here at Lincoln. When the mill burnt one time, I was hauling out of another mill, he stopped me. He had this big green Chrysler, and I see him coming up behind me blinking his lights, so I pulled over and stopped. He wanted to know if I had time to talk. He bought his father-in-law's ranch at Eureka. He'd been studying Hereford cattle, and he figured out how they were big cattle, and he studied bloodlines. He bought 100 registered horn Herefords for a rancher at Ovando, and then in his studies, there was bloodline he wanted in the cows, and then he went to Canada and bought a different bloodline that he figured would be a good match, a good click, whatever you call it, for the cows. So that he bought a ranch up in Eureka. With nothing to do, I quit driving chip truck, and we went to Eureka, And it took about 3 years before the genetics started kicking in on what he thought was the right kind of Hereford cow. Well, they must have been the right Hereford, right cross, because we go to the bull sales and sell bulls at the barn and stuff like that. His $2,000 a year bulls went to $8,000. Eye appeal, people that come in wanted and stuff. So that was another deal up here at, you know, being attached to Lincoln. So now that people get retirement age and they just go sit in the easy chair and sit and watch TV, and they get old and they die before they're 65. Well, I decided I had this brain tumor operation, and I decided I wanted to recover and live in Lincoln. So in 1995, I came to Lincoln. I'm still here, so I've been here 25 years, and I've been considered with that operation. The operation tumor was benign, and the operation was successful except for the seizures. Well, I got by the 5 years, so that's 25 years ago now that I've been in Lincoln. So they consider me old, but I get firewood out for the elderly and people that need help. They might find themselves a good wood patch, but I've got a good saw and I got a cable and a pulley, and so we follow the tree and limit, but then from there on the log comes out to the road. We don't have to stumble around in the brush. We couldn't do it anyway. So I'm still in Lincoln here now, so it's 2020, and a couple of years ago, a real bad winter, and the leprechauns came to visit me. I was staying at a motel room. They came down to visit me, and they said they had a terrible trip. They stopped up there and visited with the Almighty and warmed up, and the Almighty said, well, you fellas are going down there and visit that old fella Billy down there at Lincoln, Montana. Oh, yes, Almighty, that's where we're going. Yeah, he said, I've got him registered here in my registry book here. I'm going to allow him to have 100 years of life and 1 more year to repent.
So we're going to go to 101, and I'm going to let you know I had no idea you were Irish. My mother's grandmother was very Irish. She would say, she'd say all kinds of stuff about the little people, the leprechauns.
Oh, yeah.
And then if someone died, she would say, I knew it. I heard the wail of the banshee last night. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, the old Irish wakes they used to have and stuff, the thing about it was, you'd stay up all night with the dead, you know, and of course, there's Irish whiskey being passed around. So they get about this second bottle about half empty, and somebody decides that the deceased needs a drink. So they prop him up and they give him a drink and say the prayers for him all over again.